With this energy of the architect, I'm hearing you're ready for the next phase. So something has reached completion for you. You're bored, you're feeling stuck, you feel like you've outgrown your environment. This is like big fish, small pond kind of energy. And so you are being given the green light from Spirit to go ahead and proceed forth into the unknown. It feels like a lot of you have something that you've been sort of working on behind the scenes. You've been eyeing from afar. You've been telling yourself, like, I would love to do this. I feel, inspired in this direction, or this might be something interesting or fulfilling in terms of like a big life change, a career change, something that it feels like you just have this sort of sense, this like sixth sense that lets you know a better life, more abundance, greater peace of mind exists off in that new territory. And so this can serve as that confirmation that yes, taking steps in that other direction outside of what has been the status quo for you so far, this is going to be a first crucial step to constructing a whole new reality for yourself. You are the master architect of your life in this sense. And it's almost like you're at a crossroads right now. So the choice is to kind of just remain within the struggle, to remain in this place where it is very exhausting to kind of keep everything that you have going on right now afloat. Or for some of you, there may be this energy of struggle that is settling in, stagnation, where you're like, I don't know how much longer I can keep living like this. The other choice is to take that leap of faith off into the unknown. Obviously, be logical about things. Obviously, try and like plan and make smart moves. But this holds this energy of like almost spreading your wings and trusting that these winds of change that have almost like turned your mindset towards other things, turned your attention towards other things. These are going to lift you up and carry you to the right opportunities, the right circumstances, the right resources, so that you can align with more abundance, even just more peace of mind, an easier way of doing things. Some of you have been taking the hard road, and that served for a period of time to like forge aspects of your character or enhance aspects of your character to a certain extent, but you don't need to struggle like that anymore. You have refined yourself very beautifully. The universe sees that and recognizes that, and this is time to kind of let this version of you go forth into the world, to pursue those kind of other dreams, those other goals, those other interests. And for a lot of you, you're going to be surprised at just how easy it is to call in that abundance that you are desiring, to create that life that you don't need a vacation from, because it is an alignment with a higher timeline that you have worked very hard to be able to access energetically. And now the only thing left to do is to take steps actually in that direction. There's nothing more that serves you from sort of like looking in the rearview mirror at the past. It feels like a lot of you've done a lot of extensive shadow work. You've sat in the midst of circumstances that might have been very like outside of your control, very unchangeable. And to kind of remain there, it's almost like needless suffering at this particular point in time. There's no nobility in that for you at this point. The door is wide open for you to step forth into something better, and that is because you have opened this door for yourself through a desire to change. And anything that you've been working on behind the scenes, even just kind of like thinking about, wondering about, researching, all of that has set these wheels in motion in the subtle realms, that it feels like you're going to be really surprised when you take just even one step in a different direction, the way that the universe kind of rises up to meet you. You encounter the right people, algorithms recommend content to you, or outlets and resources that allow you to create income for yourself, or align with courses or ways in which to kind of like flesh out that dream into the material sense. Maybe even aligning with the type of community that you need in order to kind of, feel very supported. Or for some of you, this is kind of like a call towards, being light workers, or even sort of like shadow workers, helping people to kind of work through their own difficulties, through a path that you have personally walked. And it feels like steps in a new direction towards that, not just thinking about it, not just kind of like, wouldn't that be nice, but taking steps in that direction. You're going to encounter the right people that have been waiting to encounter someone like you, or will bring you into the fold of whatever they have going on, and you will experience a greater sense of inclusivity. This can also signal, though, like major changes as far as jobs, career is concerned. Things that you are almost just in the process currently of sort of like watering dead plants. You're pouring yourself into kind of keeping things afloat, or remaining within very like present circumstances that are just not gratifying. They're taking more than they are giving to you, in terms of like draining your energetic resources, draining your enthusiasm, draining your light. And this is the time to really become proactive, searching outside of the box, or taking that step, that necessary step, that first step in the direction of a different sort of point on the horizon that you've identified for yourself. You've just been sort of sitting in this energy of pondering, and it's now time to like take that step forward. We also have sea turtle. So this is encouraging you to kind of pace yourself. Don't expect that it's like, okay, I'm taking a step in the direction of something new and it's all going to be accomplished like in a weekend. I'm going to be at that goal. I'm going to kind of like reach that milestone. I'm going to be in a place where everything is perfect and it happens, in like the snap of a finger. This is something where it's almost like a new journey that you are choosing to embark upon. Something that won't be as tedious as whatever your journey up to this point in time has been on. It might have even been a journey to just kind of like reaching a point of total discontent, where it's sort of like the mentality of nothing changes if nothing changes. That could have been the process of what has kind of brought you to this place of like, yeah, I can continue to go through the motions of this reality I've created for myself. There may be certain satisfactions, certain essential things may be kind of covered or taken care of, but do I really enjoy myself? Am I really having a good time? Does this feel fulfilling? Is this answering like a call inside to sort of reach for something more? And so taking that step in a different sort of direction. Yes, it's going to take time to have that kind of like full arrival at that place you want to be. Yes, it's going to take time to have that dream fully manifest, but the universe totally supports you in bringing in kind of willfully the energies of change into your life, not waiting for tower moments, but almost like swimming against the current, getting out of the comfort zone, even the comfort zone of just kind of sitting and complaining, sitting and feeling like this sucks. This is not an excellent experience that I'm having. This is something where I'm very bored, I'm very stagnant, I'm very discontent. I look around at other people and they seem to have found some sort of source of contentment or happiness that has eluded me so far. This is the opportunity for you to be very proactive at this particular point in time. Not wait on divine timing, but kind of just declare to yourself the time is now and take steps forward in that new direction, knowing that it will take like a slow process of change, or to acclimate to that experience of what that means for you to extract yourself out of that comfort zone, out of the status quo. But you're heading in the right direction because there's some kind of wish fulfillment that is calling to you, that has called your attention outside of your ordinary circumstance, that is causing you not to just kind of like settle in and, kind of shut down and just go through the motions and that's it. It's something that has kind of, not quelled this kind of like hunger inside of you for something more. And so it's important for you to kind of like answer that call within. We also have fawn. Yeah, so this is also encouraging you to be very gentle with yourself through the process of, it may seem really great to like, cool, I'm going to take a step in a new direction. And you do that and it's very exciting and it's very empowering. But there may be like a fear of the unknown that sort of kicks in that makes you second guess yourself, kind of like, what did I just do? What have I gotten myself into? What am I heading towards? Try not to get too much in that energy of overthinking. Like, is this going to work? Is it going to be successful? When's it going to happen? Trying to just kind of pick apart all those little details. There's a sense of almost like needing to get accustomed to the experience of the process of building. Like, you've built the life that you're living so far. For some of you, consciously, you've tried to manifest certain things. Maybe it was like you wished for something and it was like, be careful what you wish for, because the reality of that circumstance wasn't what you thought it would be. And so this is the time to kind of just, take that L. Tell yourself, okay, I'm wiser. I know better. I'm going to be a little more cautious or conscientious in what I'm aiming towards at this point in time. For others of you, it's kind of like you very unconsciously you've created a life for yourself. You're living within repercussions. You're living within the consequences of choices that you made before you even knew that you had a choice, or before you were even thinking in the long-term sense. You were living in terms of immediate gratification, not considering kind of the ripple effect of that. And here you are now at this particular point in time, desiring some kind of change. And so, yes, freeing yourself from that energy of kind of just like wishful thinking, longing for something to change, wanting something more, something different, something else for yourself, not knowing where to start, taking a step in a first direction. That's going to be something that kind of creates a huge shakeup for you, energetically speaking. It's going to be something where it feels really good. That momentum happens. You get very excited about, like, yes, okay, I answered that call within. I'm doing something. I'm making that change happen. I'm consciously trying to create a different sort of reality for myself. But there may be periods of time as well where you kind of like stop, and it's almost the idea of like if you're climbing up a mountain, for example, and they often will tell people like, well, don't look down. If you're afraid of heights, especially, don't look down. And you stop and you look for just a minute. It's like, oh my gosh, okay, how to get up this high? I don't know how I'm going to get down. I don't know if I can go much higher. Moments like that might set in for you. Give yourself grace. Give yourself the chance to kind of like, go through that panic mode, recenter, reset, and continue that journey forward. This is something that this next step for you is very crucial. It is that step into the unknown. It is co-signing for a new journey for yourself, you and spirit co-signing, you and the wisdom that past mistakes have, kind of created inside of you. In terms of insight and discernment, these are the tools that you are using. You're not walking blindly into this next experience in your life. You've lived and you've lost and you've gained, and so you are setting forth not in a naive energy, even though it may be a fresh start or something entirely new that you are wanting to create or call in, but you have a lot more kind of tools in the toolbox than you really recognize and understand. But it may take some time to kind of like realize for yourself, like, yeah, I'm actually doing this. I'm actually making something happen for myself. I am actually changing my circumstance. I have actually broken free of that pattern of just sitting around and wishing that something would be different, and I have made a difference for myself. There are going to be moments, and most of those moments you're going to feel really pleased with yourself. It's going to be a very gentle journey as opposed to, kind of rough terrain that you have moved through up to this point in time, because it seems like for a lot of you that are resonating with this, you probably weren't in alignment with your highest good. You were maybe reaching for things, or you'd created a life for yourself that was very like fulfilling to your ego, but your higher self knew you were always meant for something more. You were meant to use your full potential. You were meant to activate certain gifts within and utilize those to help yourself and others. You were meant to kind of go through painful or disappointing like karmic cycles in order to come out the other side of that with all of that wisdom that only difficulty can afford to a person. And so you're moving forth in the direction of a more empowered version of yourself, a more empowered version of the life that you are living. It is mostly going to be a good experience, but in those times where you get kind of nervous, you second guess yourself, like, okay, I've just sort of plucked myself out of one version of my reality. I've burned bridges, or, stepped away from things that I can't just go back and kind of reinsert myself into. So what does that mean going forward? Where Where do I find myself now? Giving yourself grace during those times of uncertainty, allowing yourself to kind of feel those feelings, and then remembering why it is that you embarked upon this, what it is that you are striving towards. You are meant to live a life that you don't need a vacation from. You are meant to live a life that feels fulfilling. You have the ability to create that for yourself, and it feels like a lot of you know, or have an idea of what direction that exists within, where you need to pour your focus, where you need to pour your resources, where you need to pour your time, where you need to pour your attention in order to start to kind of, not just kind of ask the universe to deliver these things, but you're actually climbing towards those things. You're reaching for those things. You're gathering those things up in little increments where you can in order to accumulate and amass a greater quotient of these things than you've had up to this point in time. Wish fulfillment, peace of mind, personal fulfillment, happiness, success, something where you're not kind of just living in the midst of struggle, but you are using struggles of the past as stepping stones in order to step into that more fulfilling existence for yourself. We also have the scales. Yeah, so this is another indicator that, you've learned everything that you need to learn from a cycle of your life that you've been in. You're now just kind of spinning the wheels. You're going round and round in an energy that is sort of, it serves a purpose. Yeah, you have free will. You can choose to just sort of remain where you are, but it's also the kind of thing that will always keep your sight set on the horizon. This will be one of those I will always wonder what if kind of moments if you do not take that step forward in a new direction, because there's a part of you, like your soul, your higher self, your spirit understands there was a necessity for the experiences that you've just had, the life you've created for yourself, the season of your life that you are still living in the midst of right now, that something inside of you knows this could go on for a very long time, or this is the opportunity to, make a break for it, make a change for myself, step forth into a new direction. There is kind of a new experience that will come with its own series of challenges, but will come with a lot more blessings than you are able to capitalize upon and seize where you are currently in your life. And the only way to access that is to be brave, to muster up that courage within, to step forth into the unknown and not just wait for change to happen to you, but to create that change for yourself. Reach for something more, reach for something better. Take all that frustration inside and alchemize that into fuel to activate you into that kind of pursuit of purpose, pursuit of something more. And it feels like this is, again, something where you have completed certain karmic cycles and lessons that were very necessary for you to learn in order to, hone your discernment, or things that may have even been karmic debts that you brought over from previous lifetimes, people that you needed to have encounters with, or experiences you needed to have in order to see, what do I want to bring with me into the next season versus what is best kind of like left behind me, so that I am moving ahead unencumbered by the weights and the things that I didn't know were kind of unconsciously pulling upon me from previous times in my life, previous manifestations of myself. You've done all that heavy lifting. You've sat in that energy of enduring things while you needed to. You've made certain changes that were possible, maybe even like tough changes, tough choices that you had to make in order to free yourself from certain things, cut off certain people, shift certain things, change your life for the better. And so now is the time for you to step forth into a more all-encompassing experience of what a better life for yourself can be like. And when you take that step forward, you will see that the universe meets you more than halfway. The universe rewards bravery like this. The universe will support us if we choose to just kind of remain in life on easy mode, or with not a lot of challenges, even if that easy mode involves kind of like a familiar sense of discontent. It's easy to sit within frustration and stagnation if we become accustomed to it for so long. The hard thing is to kind of reach for more. The hard thing is to say no more to that and to strive for something else, something different. And when a person chooses to kind of like reach for that energy of something more, the forces that be in the universe do collude in that person's favor. It will be conspiracies in your favor. The universe saying, here is a brave individual that is setting forth along a path towards an ascended experience of their everyday reality. You have done the preparations for this. You have fine-tuned yourself emotionally, spiritually, intellectually, actually. You are ready to kind of set forth again in a new direction that it feels like will bring new experiences, but you're bringing a lot of that wisdom of the past from you, things that you have learned, ways in which you've taken your power back from certain situations. You're not moving blindly into this next chapter of your experience. You're answering a call, and that is something that feels like that will be profoundly evident to you. Unlike previous times where you might have thought I'm making choices or you unconsciously made choices, this is something where you're really responding to an urge within. You're answering a call. You are looking above the fray of the ordinary and towards something more, towards that kind of, creative zone where you are the master architect of your life. You have the ability to reshape things until the circumstances feel good and fit for you in a way that you are very excited about every day that you are living. You are satisfied by the people, places, and things that surround you, that you are giving your time and energy and essence to, and that are pouring into you in return. This is that opportunity for you to step forth, for you to be brave, and for you to make that change for yourself that your spirit, your soul, your higher self, even your earthly self, it feels like has been considering for quite some time, has been wanting for quite some time, and the time for that change is now. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. Like or comment to claim these energies. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more content that I put out here. Don't forget to hit the bell button to get notifications every time I post a new video. And if you would like to book a personal reading with me, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link for that below. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.